So, good morning, everybody. Today we have gathered here for a small session on prospects, career prospects for planning engineer. And so here is a little intro about myself. And I am a chartered civil engineer, and I am in the industry for past 20 years, out of which since 10 years I have been into training and coaching. Okay? And my experience is diverse, not only in construction industry. I'm also into real estate, international real estate, and finance industry. So I hope everybody can see my slide. This is my small experience. I have also some more areas of expertise which I could not write because of the limitation of this slide. So moving on, we'll have a short poll here first because it is more important for me to know about you. I'm requesting everybody to please write in the chat box what language do you prefer. Okay, out of the three, since I am from Maharashtra, I have added the language Marathi. I've added the language Marathi. Okay, great. A lot of yeses coming here. So the second poll I want here is please type in the chat box whatever is your occupation, if you're a student, faculty, or a working professional. Okay. Okay, a lot of students here, and this is what we are. This today's webinar is planned for, is majorly for students. So we'll have a quick uh, understanding of the session rules. Please mute your phones and your mic also. This is a very strict rule for today's session because I have conducted more than 50 sessions in this industry. And is because of people are keeping their microphones on and having a lot of background noise which disturbs everybody. Also, the presenter will lose his link. Okay, so please respect others and the presenter also, and please put your phone on silent mode. Also, put your mic on mute. Okay, second rule for today's session is please you can ask questions, but please this will create a lot of nuisance if everybody is talking at the same time. So we prefer you type whatever questions you have, please type in the chat box instead of talking on the phone, instead of talking on the mic. Okay, and last thing is you can take notes wherever necessary. Unfortunately, we did not have the option of recording this session, so it doesn't matter. We can always be in touch with you all. And if you have any problems, you can take notes and you can ask your questions also. Okay, we'll try to solve everybody's questions and doubts and clear whatever your queries are. So moving forward, let me tell you today's target audience, who this session is for. So majorly we are targeting final year and maybe pre-final year students of civil engineering, faculty, and also working professionals who have less experience. Because this is this session is will cover only the basic things, because advanced concepts students will not understand, and the focus for today's session is only on final year students who are interested or want to know, they are curious about the career in planning engineering, what it is all about. So this session will focus on students and faculty also, obviously. But working professionals, those who are having higher experience, more than 5 years or more than 10 years, uh, the ideal target audience is students and faculty. Okay, so if you are here, more experienced people, if you are here, please sit back and relax and enjoy. And I would also welcome creative and constructive criticism, which you can type in the chat box, or maybe you can get in touch with us later on after the session is over. So without wasting further time, I hope I have cleared my the goal and the rules for this session. So we'll start with today's session. Uh, this is a quick review of whatever is today's meeting agenda. Okay, there is a question in chat box. isn't this for second and third year students? Of course, you can attend. There is no restriction as such, but because the final year students will be getting out into the industry, so the focus will be those who are career oriented. This is for them also. But of course, you can join even if you are first year student, or maybe you are interested in planning career. You can definitely, you're welcome to join and enjoy this session. Also, you are free to ask your questions in the chat box. Okay. So moving forward, we have a meeting agenda. Today is what points will be covered. This is a quick introduction, right? I hope everybody is able to see the screen. So career options, introduction to planning and scheduling. Many people have confusion between the terms planning and plan development. What will be a role? What is the role of a planning engineer in industry? What are the steps in planning? Skills required? What is the importance, significance? Uh, what if there is no planning engineer? Or what if the planning engineer does not do his job properly? What will happen? And finally, we'll conclude with career prospects, right? So the careers in construction, because of the limitation of PowerPoint pie chart, we have put in only 7 options here. But of course, this extends the careers in construction industry extends well beyond these 7 fields. Okay, so estimation, that's my forte, that's my expertise. Quantity surveying and contracts, then contract administration, structural consultancy, structural design, site execution, geotechnicals, transportation. Of course, there is environment and many other fields. Okay, out of which we are focusing today on planning and scheduling, a career in planning and scheduling. Right. So moving forward, I would like to start with the concept of planning. Leave aside the specialized construction industry. First thing, we should understand what is planning, right? So the planning concept is like there is a popular saying in the industry which goes like this: if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I hope everybody gets the meaning. It's a very powerful statement. So it shows the importance, how important planning is in anything you do. Planning is very much important. Okay, so if you don't this means that in simpler words, I can explain this as: if you don't do plan, if you do planning, proper planning, maybe you will fail or succeed. But if you don't plan, you will definitely fail. This is such a powerful statement. So this shows the importance of planning in anything, even in your daily life. That's what there is 2 examples we have given here. Every small activity is a project in itself. Hence, it needs a plan to execute, right? And it shows even if you are cooking or making an omelette in home, you need so many things. So this is an assignment for everybody, those who are freshers especially. You try to break this down, this activity of making an omelette. You can try to break this down into smaller activities. What you need raw materials, you need tools like your frying pan and everything. You need raw materials, spices and oil and everything. You need also gas cylinder. There should be gas in the cylinder. It should be connected through a cable to your gas stove, right? So you need so many activities. And before that, you need egg. Everything you have, but you don't have egg. So this is a major activity, bringing the egg from the market. Right? You can break this down and you can see how much planning this small thing, cooking an omelette at home, how much important planning is here. If you don't have egg in home, everything you have, but you don't have egg, how can you make the omelette? You understand? So it shows that there is a lot of planning going on here, because simply because we do this activity every day, we take it so casually that we don't understand how much planning there is indeed. And the second example we have given here is shifting a house. You can break this down into smaller need when you want to shift a home. I hope everybody is with me. So planning, in my simple terms, throughout my session, I will be using practical terms because I am not a bookish man. I am into the industry for a long time now. So whatever I don't follow the bookish rules and definitions. I follow what comes from inside and from my experience. So planning by definition, I don't know whatever is written in your college books, but planning for me is defining the scope of activities and execution methods along with the budget. So this is a very simple language. You also need to do budget. You need to define what activities are you going to cover in a project and how you will do it. What are the execution methods? That is planning, deciding everything. Hmm? So coming to the point of planning and scheduling, we are having a very short term, very crisp definition is planning is deciding what to do, how to do, and at what cost. What is your budget? So you're answering. Okay, Darshan, I'm sorry to interrupt. Darshan is saying can't hear my voice. Everybody is this only one person or everybody is not able to hear my voice? Uh, Please type in the chat box if everybody can hear my voice. So if everybody is able to hear, so maybe Darshan will have to, Darshan, you have to check your settings with your microphone, with your headset, because everybody else is able to hear me properly. Only one person called Darshan. Okay, in between it is getting distorted. So that is the issue with your internet connection, the speed of your internet connection, quality. Because at my place it is very crisp and clear and everybody else is also able to hear me properly. We'll continue. Request to Darshan, please check your settings again. Maybe you can join back again. Okay, so coming back to our presentation, planning is deciding what to do, how to do, and at what cost. Three questions we have to answer. For example, if now we are talking specifically about our industry, construction industry. And before going forward, let me also clear this point. Planning is a common activity which is everywhere. So not only limited to construction industry, even in mechanical or electrical or maybe any other industry, planning is always required. So planning engineers and planning officers exist in every industry because without planning, your project is going to fail by default, right? So today's session is specially focused towards construction industry professionals and students. So the examples given here are obviously related to construction industry. So planning, I said what to do, how to do, and at what cost. So example here is deciding how many floors you are going to construct in a building. Suppose you are doing a building project. So you have to decide how many floors. Maybe you can increase your plan area and you can reduce the floors. Or maybe if there is a restriction on the floor area, uh, the ground area that can be covered, so you have to increase your number of floors to accommodate all the plan, entire building, right? So deciding this answers the question what to do. Now how to do, everybody knows today we are in the age of RCC. Earlier it was load bearing structures were constructed, but today every structure possibly is made up of RCC. So when thinking about RCC, you have to decide and you have to make a decision. This is part of the planning also. You have to make a decision how you are going to do the RCC work. Maybe it will be cast in situ, that is, it is mixed and placed. The concrete is mixed and placed on site, live, or maybe you can order RMC from a company, from a supplier, or maybe you can just, if you have limitations of space and time, you can also go for precast. Precast is a very good industry. We can have a session on precast also later on, but precast is a very good solution. It gives a good quality. So this is a part of planning, deciding how you will do it. RCC work, the same RCC work, but how you will do it, whether you will do it on site or maybe you will bring in RMC and just place on site, or maybe you will bring ready-made products from factory and just install them, tying them together with connections. So this problem of this answers the question how to do, right? So what to do and how to do. Planning is about doing, deciding what to do and how to do. Then second is scheduling. People don't know. This is because people don't know and get confused between the words planning and scheduling. These are two different things. So what is scheduling? Once you have answered what to do and how to do, you have to answer the question when to do. I hope everybody is with me. When to do means how much time will be required. So the questions you can answer here is how much time for each activity will be required, how much time for the entire project, and how you can what you can do to finish your project within time and with minimum time and cost, right? So minimum duration and cost you have to decide. So this is part of scheduling. So I hope everybody is clear with the definitions of planning and how they are different things. So people think that planning and scheduling is one word. It is not. Both are different things. Planning and scheduling are different things. In planning, again, in planning you answer what to do and how to do. In scheduling, you answer when. So simply put, planning is defining the scope of activities and execution methods, while scheduling is putting the plan on a time scale. Once you have prepared this plan, you have to put it on a time scale, right? Okay, great. I hope everybody is able to understand. If you are not understanding any point, you can put it on the chat box. We will answer, because if I answer live, maybe I'll break my sequence, or maybe I'll break my link. So we'll take the question and answer session toward the end of the session. Okay, question and answers toward the end. Okay, so we'll move forward. So there is another confusion between young people, young engineers, is the difference between the two words planning and plan development or plan drafting. So let me clear this right at the start. Planning is different from plan development. Planning is, again, as I told earlier, planning is deciding what to do, how to do, and at what budget. Okay, deciding what to do, how to do, and at what cost. While plan development, as you can see in the figure by the side, drafting, it is just simple drawing. So plan development and planning are two different things. If you have misconceptions, please take it out now. Okay, these two are different things. So moving forward, now we have come to the core role of a planning engineer in the industry. So most of the students will be from final year. So this is very important, because if you are going to, or if you are planning to do, if you are thinking of making a career in planning and scheduling, so you must know what will be what is a typical life of a planning engineer, or typical activities. What is the role? What is the significance? That is, these points we'll be covering from now on. Okay, in the coming slides. So moving to the role of a planning engineer, how important this role is. So what activities you do as a planning engineer? You have to do planning and scheduling, of course. That is the core of your job. Then the main goal is ensuring that the project plan, whatever plan you have made, it satisfies the project goal, because every project will have a specific set of goals that they want to achieve. The client wants to achieve some goals here, right? So if your plan is diverging from the project goal, this project will fail. Okay, so it is a duty of planning engineer to ensure that the project plan satisfies the project goals. It is in line and in alignment with the project goals. You cannot do anything of your own. You have to first understand what are the project goals, and then according to those goals, you have to make a plan, right? So this is another duty of planning engineer. You have to reduce and try to reduce project time and cost. Now, why I have written this time and cost on paper? Because planning engineer sits in office, whether it is head office of the company or maybe on site. Even if you are on site, you have to sit in office and do the planning work. So you are doing everything on paper and in computer. Whatever you do on site, the project manager is executing. So on site and on paper, on field and on paper, this is the difference. So planning engineer and project manager roles have need tremendous coordination with each other. So whatever you do on paper, the project manager will execute on site, right? So this is your duty, to reduce and to plan in such a way that the project can be completed with minimum time. And if, If needed during the course of project, if needed, you have to try and again modify your initial plans and try to reduce the cost or the time. Both are important. Then monitoring of the actual progress, right? You cannot sit in office even if you're on if your duty is to sit in the company's head office. You have to constantly visit site. Okay, so many times the planning engineers, for the sake of logistics, people are the planning engineers are maybe placed or appointed on site itself, because they have to track the project progress, monitor and track the project progress and the project cost, right? So how to do this? Because planning engineer is not into execution, so he will need data from the execution team, from the project manager and from the site engineers, those who are actually executing on site. So data is to be collected from the site team, and then the planning engineer can make reports about the project progress and where the costs are going. If according to plan the project is not going, then this is a duty of the planning engineer to give early warnings to the project manager. This PM means project manager. About what warnings he has to give, because project manager is able to do execute everything on site. He has a lot of experience and knowledge, but if he doesn't know what problems are going to come, then he will not be able to solve those problems or handle those problems. So it is our duty, and the first duty, I will say, the first duty of a planning engineer is to stay in touch in coordination with the project manager on site and give him early warnings. When you can give early warnings, if you have done this job correctly, monitoring and tracking. You understand what I mean to say? So early warnings to project manager about what? About potential. So maybe this is a warning about for future delays. So what can go wrong? The project can go wrong in terms of uh, late finishing. The project can become delayed, and due to that also there will be additional costs. So if something is going to come in future, if the planning engineer has done these two jobs correctly, of course, first first job is this one, to do proper according to the technical rules and set of rules and according to the project goals. If he has done the proper planning and scheduling, then the job doesn't end here. He has also to constantly monitor and track where the project is heading towards, because if you don't track, you will lose the project direction, right? So constantly monitoring and tracking the actual project progress and the project cost. And when you are tracking, you have to prepare reports and show them to the project manager, so that he can get he can get aware of the potential future problems. Problems are in terms of late finish and over budget, more cost. You understand? So let us see how important this role is. These are the steps in any project, in any construction project. Sometimes we will see 4 stages, but here we have given 5 stages. First stage is of a project. This is entire. These 5 steps are actually the steps involved in a project life cycle. The project starts with the first stage, that is conception and initiation. The second stage is definition planning. This is where the real work starts for a planning engineer. This is all the part of planning, work breakdown structure, preparing the Gantt. Gantt is nothing but schedule, right? Then once the planning is done, the plan is freezed. Then when the project starts, so this is the phase of execution. Now when execution starts, we have to start tracking the project simultaneously, and hence collecting data from the site is very important. So uh, the 3 stages, this is the third stage in the project life cycle, that is of execution. Then performance and control. Control is finding the fault and repairing them and bringing the project back on track, right? So the final stage is project closure. So these are the 5 stages in a project life cycle, and the planning engineer is involved in each and every step, right from the start till the end, right? So these are the major activities I will underline them. Budgeting, scoping, work breakdown structure. Here the real core work starts. Preparing the Gantt. I hope everybody is aware with what is Gantt chart. Then risk management is also there. Tracking, most important thing, tracking. Preparing, this is key performance indicators. Okay, Vaishnavi Kulkarni is writing no. Can you explain, Vaishnavi, what no? Okay, what can you be more specific? What you want more explanation about? Okay, are you a student? Are you a student, Vaishnavi? Okay, okay. Which standard? Which year? Okay, second year. So you have in second year the subject of project management and construction management is not there. So once you go to third and fourth year of your engineering, you will get this subject on construction management, and then you will understand what are Gantt charts. Okay. For the time being, you just listen and okay, great. You just listen and we can connect later on also. If you want, I will give you explanation about this. Right. So Gantt chart, risk management, project status, tracking, KPIs. Maybe students will not understand. KPI is key performance indicator. KPI stands for key performance indicator. So there are some certain reports and metrics, some numbers that we have to make reports about, which will show the project status, project health, if the project is healthy or not, financially also, and project the progress wise also. So there are a lot of KPIs to monitor. This is the core work of a planning engineer. Okay, project manager is very well equipped with the all the knowledge about site execution, but and he can also repair if the project is not working according to the planned according to plan. But he has to have some reports in hand. He is not a god. He needs somebody to tell him that project is not going according to the planned things. Okay, so quality and forecast, of course, forecast is also part of planning. Then deliverables, effort, and cost tracking. Yes, this is a very key thing. Planning will be required. Reporting and punch list and postmortem. Every stage, planning engineer is involved. Every stage. Okay, very important role in industry. So moving forward, these are the project outcomes. When you complete a project, maybe the project will form, project will lie in one of these four quadrants. So this is the first quadrant, this is the second, this is third, and this is the fourth one. Let me explain. First quadrant is about the ideal. In the first quadrant, the project will finish within budget as per planned, and it is ahead of schedule. Means suppose the project was scheduled, suppose there is a project on hotel construction. If earlier it was scheduled to complete within 24 months, but the project, due to excellent execution and the coordination of all the design and execution team and planning engineer, the project manager was able to finish the project in 22 months. So this is called finishing the project ahead of schedule, before time. Isn't that great? So finishing the project before time and at less cost. What was estimated? Suppose the estimated cost of a project of a hotel building was maybe 25 crores, maybe 40 crores, whatever, and you could finish it within. So the project budget was 40 crores, and you could finish it in 37 crores. So that is a saving of 3 crores. Isn't that a great thing? So that's why we call this an ideal condition, right? And the worst condition will be what? You can judge obviously by common sense. You can worst condition is. Uh, I request everybody, when I ask something, please keep on chatting. Please keep on typing in the chat box if you are understanding or not. Just like what Vaishnavi did, please give your reactions and your opinions. If you are not understanding, let me know. right? So the worst case here is if you are finishing the project over budget and behind schedule. These are the two things. What does over budget means? The project was scheduled to finish within 40 crores, but you required 50 crores. That is called over budget. You needed extra cost. That is a bad thing. And the project was scheduled to finish in 24 months. You required 30 months to finish. That is again a bad thing. So okay, now can everybody hear me? Please type yes in the chat box if you are able to hear me. Okay, great. By mistake, I went on mute somehow. I'm back again. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. My screen is visible now. Great. Sorry for the interruption. Okay, so the worst case is when the project is over budget and behind schedule, right? So in between these two conditions will lie the second and the fourth quadrant, wherein in the second quadrant you can see that the project was finished within budget. That means within the cost, estimated cost, but it finished late. Behind schedule means the project finished late. And the fourth quadrant is that the project was over budget, but it was ahead of schedule. So you finished the project within time, maybe ahead of time, but you required more expenses. So these two, the second and fourth, are also not desirable. And the worst case is the quadrant three, where the project is both over budget, you required more cost, and you finished late also. In India, we don't have value for money, but when you go I'm back again. Everybody can see now and hear me properly. Okay. We just finished this slide. My screen is visible. Is my screen visible? Okay, great. Sorry for the interruption again. So we finished the slide. We want the planning engineer's duty is to try and finish the project in this quadrant. So ideal condition is that we finish the project within budget and ahead of schedule. Now, what skills are required? This is very important. What skills are required from a planning engineer? So the fresher students, Samir Jain is asking me. Okay, wait a minute. Cost variance is nothing but I will show you on. There is a slide coming on which there is a concept of schedule variance and cost variance also. Yeah. Okay. 1 minute. Request everybody, please don't share your screens. The control is not in my hand. Yeah, thank you. Please don't share your screen and don't talk in between. Okay, we were talking on the point of cost variance and schedule variance. There is a slide coming just now where I will try to explain a little bit because we cannot go in deep. There are students even connected who are even from second year of engineering. This will go bouncer for them. So we cannot go into depth in this session. For advanced skills, we can conduct trainings and other sessions also. Right. So this is, as I explained earlier, this is only for basic explanation. So I'll touch upon the concept of cost and schedule variance, but we'll not go into the depth of it. So skills required. The first thing is the foremost thing is you cannot be a theory person. You have to be on site and you should be understanding. You should have a good the cost of them, the cost of resources, because the cost of a project comes from activities and the cost of activities comes from resources required on those activities. Right. So basic understanding of resources required, all the activities, construction processes means the activities in which we break down the project. So the good knowledge of resources, their cost and their productivity. Now productivity is something which you can, many people take so many years to understand what is productivity. It is like, suppose for an example, somebody has unmuted. Please mute your phone. Please mute. I'll quickly take this point here. Productivity means, suppose you want to do reinforcement steel of a column or a beam of any RCC, maybe any RCC member, you want to do steel reinforcement work, you will need labor, right? So there is a productivity concept is like that. How many people will be required to do how much quantity of steel in 1 day? So there is a productivity constant. One fitter, the skilled person, skilled labor who is doing reinforcement work on site is called fitter. I'm just trying to give a small example of productivity, right? So one fitter plus one helper. Okay, so this is a pair of labor. One fitter and one helper will are able to do reinforcement work of 200 kg per day. 200 kg per day. One fitter and one helper can do a work of 200 kg per day. Steel. 200 kg means steel reinforcement work. What work is required? I'm sorry. Straightening the bars, cutting them, bending them, and placing them on in place in the member and tying them. Okay, screen is losing continuously. I'm sorry for that, but maybe that's an issue with the internet connection. Internet connection. Okay, so one fitter and one helper is able to do this pair is able to do 200 kg of work per day. This is called the productivity constant. So suppose you have to do. Uh, I'll take this quickly. I'll try to finish this quickly, but this is an important concept. So 200 kg per day, one fitter and one helper, the pair, the jodi will be able to do in one day. So suppose you have work of 2 tons, or maybe let us say 1 ton. That is, how much is 1 ton? Especially for students. 1 ton means 1000 kg, right? So how much time will be required to finish the reinforcement work? If I have only one fitter and one helper on my side, how much time they will require to finish the work of 1000 kg of steel? Can you type in the chat box, please? Great, everybody is very clever here. So you will require 5 days, right? So this is how you fix up the duration. As I told you earlier, schedule is deciding how much time will be required. So this is how you decide how much time will be required for each activity. Great, great. I have good answers here. Good participation. Thank you for that. So this is called productivity. So productivity constants are like this. So whatever I have written here, 200 kg per day is called the productivity constant. So like this, I have taken a small example of reinforcement, but this applies to every activity. So the knowledge of productivity constants is also, but this is obviously as a fresher you will not understand anything. You have to be attentive on site, and you have to continuously try to learn. You should be always in learning mode when you are working on site. So we shall move forward. Let me clear the screen first. Okay, so I've explained in brief what is productivity. So you should be able to, you should have the knowledge of, good knowledge of resources and their productivity and their costs, market cost. Okay, now this cost keep on changing, cost of resources, right? In my childhood, there was, the sugar was costing 10 rupees per kg. Now it is more, right? So the cost keep on changing. So you should be constantly on in touch of uh, you should be always in touch of latest cost. So market analysis is also one of those things. Then you need a strong logic. Everybody knows, those who are those who have completed or maybe in the final year of engineering, those who have completed the subject of construction management, they know how to do CPM, critical path method, right? So what you do in CPM, you make a network of activities. You make a network of activities that, by using the technique of critical path method. So in critical path method, you have to decide what activities will follow what activities, and which activities can run parallelly, right? So that requires a strong logic, and this logic will come from obviously practical knowledge of construction processes. You are able to relate this. I hope everybody is able to relate this to practical, right? So strong logic is one of the most important skill that you will require. Please type yes in the chat box, right? So the logic will come from practical experience, right? So you should also be proactive. As I said earlier, by proactive, proactive means taking identifying the problems before they occur and taking steps to maybe eliminate them or reduce their risks. That is called being proactive. So planning engineer's role is a very, very important skill. You have to be proactive. Now, when you will be proactive, when you are constantly in touch and in coordination with whatever activities are happening on site, right? And you are doing your job properly, you will be proactive so that you can give early warnings to the project manager. Then multitasking is one of the feature that will be required. Multitasking means maybe at one point in time, maybe you will be required to work on multiple projects, and multiple projects will be at various stages of completion in project life cycle. So some project is maybe in planning stage, maybe another project will be in execution. While in execution, you have to be constantly in touch and track and monitor the progress, and then you have to report again to the project manager. So multitasking is required. And don't worry, as a fresher or as a student, don't worry about this. This will come with practice. When you start working on site, these skills you can gain. These are not inborn. Everybody is not born with these skills, right? So these are achievable, but you need a lot of patience in this and a lot of dedication for this, right? So ability to work within deadlines and under pressure. This is a common feature. Any site, any construction project, there is always a pressure on everybody, right? So bosses will have the client and the management team will put pressure on project directors. Project directors will put pressure on senior managers. They will put pressure on site manager. Site manager will put pressure on site team, and so on. Everybody is working under pressure. So if you cannot handle pressure, you are not suitable for construction industry. I am very straightforward here. Okay. I hope my screen is full screen. Somebody is writing it is in. Okay, please wait. Uh, Okay, my screen is fully visible now or not? I'm not sure because at my place I have put it on full screen. Ketan Mere, somebody, you are presenting your screen. Please do not present your screen. This will disturb everybody else. Please let me present first and let me finish the presentation first. Then you can start screening. So shall we continue? Okay, so ability to work within deadlines and under pressure is a very common thing. If you cannot handle pressure, then you are not eligible to be in construction field. Okay, so ability to advise project manager. This will come with practice and through experience while working on site. Obviously, as a fresher, you will not be in a position to advise project manager. He is a lot more experienced than you. So you should also be a team player finally. And you need good reporting skills. Very important skill, because the report that you will show to the project manager, if they are not properly, then there will be a mess on site, because he will follow what reports you are showing him. So good reporting skills, properly systematically prepared and in details, covering every aspect, every problem, right? So good reporting skills are also required. So as I have listed down some important, these are the very common and the most important rules, most important skills that a planning engineer will be required. Obviously, there are some minor skills also, but these are the skills. And if you are really interested in making a career in planning engineering, you start working. I suggest and strongly recommend that you start working on these skills right now. And these skills will not be acquired overnight. It will require a very long time and also dedication from your side. You have a goal in hand now. You want to become a project manager. So you have to dedicate your time and this is not something like clerical work. This is a technical role wherein you will be required to use your logic, your technical knowledge, your practical knowledge, everything is required here. So very technical role, understanding of the construction processes. Okay, some Sumit is writing can't hear. Everybody is hearing me properly? Okay, okay. If somebody is not able to hear, please check with your settings of your microphone. Okay, so this is a very technical role, very highly technical role, obviously. Uh, uh, in terms of, in simple words, you can say that planning engineer is the works as the eyes of the project manager, right? Why I say this? Very important thing, because project manager, as I said earlier, project manager is capable of doing everything, uh, executing the project properly. He has everything, every skill, every talent, and every knowledge, and full experience to do everything on site. But and he is also handling and facing many people at same time, right? What project manager is facing the site team. He is also facing the clients. He's also facing the vendors. He's answerable to the bosses who are sitting in the office. He's answerable to the clients. I'm sorry. He's answerable to the client's engineer. So he is doing 360-degree job, right? So if he has a good planning engineer by his side, he will be able to see what problems are going to come in future, right? Project manager needs somebody. This is the same point. Project manager needs somebody to show him the real project, real time project health, if the project is going according to the planned thing or not. This is role is, this somebody is planning engineer. Okay. Now how the planning engineer shows the project manager about the project health, in terms of discussing and in terms of the various reports. I mentioned earlier, if you can recall the project life cycle slide, I had mentioned there KPIs, key performance indicators. So planning engineer's job is to prepare and report the KPIs to the project manager, so that the project manager will be well aware, well ahead of time, that some problems are going to come in the future. Right now, we are behind schedule and we are over budget. So if he knows this before time, he will be able to take proper effective actions to bring back the project on track. Right? You getting my point, everybody? Okay, this is a very significant role of a planning engineer, to become the eyes of the project manager. Please type yes if you are understanding this point, because this is a very most important trait or the feature or the role of a planning engineer. Correct? Okay, so continuous monitoring and vigilant. Vigilant means, so, so continuous monitoring and vigilance is required on part of planning engineer. You cannot afford to become lazy, constantly on the toes, constantly monitoring and analyzing whatever is happening on site. You have to make reports in the office on your computer or your laptops, right? And being proactive, again, the point of being proactive comes here. If you report the project manager that the project is not following as according to the planned version, if you report this after any major problem has happened, it is not of any use, राइट? एक्सीडेंट होने के बाद में बताने से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. इट्स नॉट ऑफ एनी यूज. प्रोएक्टिव मीन्स telling the or warning the project manager before some bad is going to happen. Okay, so proactively identifying potential future problems and giving timely warning. Timely. This is the thing here. This is the important thing here. Giving timely warning to the project manager, because after an incident, a bad incident has happened, if you give the report to the project manager, he will slap you in the face. Literally. This is your job as a planning engineer. So this is very important. This is very significant role in a construction project. Early, timely warnings to the project manager. Uh, I hope everybody is getting the point. Right now, in terms of warning, somebody had raised the point of uh, explaining the concept of cost and schedule variance. This is the slide. Suppose you are working on a project, you are a planning engineer or working on a project. This is one of the, I mentioned about the KPIs, right? So this is one of the S curve report, or this is more effectively called as earned value report. This is called as earned value report. Now, we are not going to go into the details of what is earned value, but from the graph you can, this is the graph or the chart that a planning engineer has to prepare and show to the project manager on a timely basis. Some projects, some smaller projects, maybe this is to be prepared every 15 days, or some 2-3 years project. We will be required to prepare this on a monthly basis. Normal is monthly basis. On a monthly basis, you have to prepare this one. This is one of the various reports that you have to prepare. I told you how you will be able to warn the project manager or give report by preparing the KPI reports, right? So this is one of the report of the many report that you have to prepare. So suppose you are a planning engineer working on a construction project, and this is the time now. You can see here time now. This is today. Now you have prepared this report and you are showing this to the project manager. This report shows the current status, current health of the project. If it is healthy or sick, the project is sick, not feeling well, right? So how do you analyze the status of the project through this report? Now you can see there is a red line called earned value, there is a green line dotted, that is planned value, and there is a blue dotted line, that is actual cost. So all these three things we have to monitor continuously. And suppose you are reporting today, today is say 23rd or 24th of May. So today is 24th of May, right? So today is 24th of May. Now today you have prepared this report and you are going to show to the project manager that this is the project status as of today. What does this show? This is the analysis that there is a cost variance here. You can see here cost variance. Okay. When I am writing or maybe using the pen, the screen is flickering, flashing. It's okay. It's normal. So there is a cost variance here. What does this cost variance say? Cost variance means there is a difference between earned value and the actual cost. So if the earned value line is below the actual cost, that means we have incurred more cost this much, whatever is the cost variance. So earned value minus planned value, I'm sorry, actual cost minus, earned value minus actual cost, that is called cost variance. Now if cost variance is negative, right? So this is the y-axis, we have cost here. So say here the cost incurred, sorry, this is the point where earned value is say uh, 10 crores, right? And the actual cost, earned value is less, but the actual cost is say 11 crores. So there is a cost variance of, cost variance, the formula is earned value minus actual cost. So there is a cost variance of 1 crore, and that is a negative figure. That means you are over budget. This is the analysis that you can derive from this report. Everybody getting my point? Very simple and very logical thing. Please type yes or no, whatever, if you are understanding the thing. Okay, earned value is the cost of budgeted cost. It is in simple terms. It is the budgeted cost of. I'm sorry. It is the budgeted cost of work performed. It is the budgeted cost of work performed. Planned value is budgeted cost of work scheduled and actual cost. These are the three costs you have to. Here, as I said earlier, we cannot afford to go into the details of this thing. This is just for an example to show kind of report that the planning engineer is required to prepare. Okay, this is an advanced concept. We will not be able to cover this entirely in details. This is not the right session for this. We can have an advanced session also, but not today. So this is just to explain that this is such an important report. This will show the project manager that, okay, my project is running over budget. I am incurring more cost than the planned thing. You can also see the planned value here, right? So the cost should have been here, but actual cost is more than that, much more than that. So again, this is one of the things that you are monitoring. That means that the project on this day, today, 24th May, the project is going over budget. You are incurring more expenses than planned, right? And again, there is a second thing from this report to derive or to analyze is that on this day, my planned thing was the project, the project progress would have should have been prepared, should have been done on this much progress should have been completed on say 20 April, but 20 April, but yes, it is a worst stage. You guessed it right. So suppose this project was, according to the plan thing, the project progress, say 50% project, should have been completed on 20th of April. But today, this is achieved. This is achieved today. That is on 24th of May. So we are late by 1 month and 4 days. This is called schedule variance. Okay, so this is the time lag here. This much you are behind schedule. Okay, this is the this much the project is lagging behind time. So this particular case on this date, the project is both over budget and behind schedule. This is the kind of analysis that a planning engineer is required to do and make a KPI report, on value report, and show it to the project manager. Now, if the project manager, if I am the project manager, you come to me and you show this report to me, I will know that my project is in a bad health. It is very unhealthy. It is sick. So now, if I know this, then I can take proper effective measures and steps so that I can bring this back to normal. Whatever is planned, whatever was planned, I know what steps to take. But you should, but first, I should have this report in my hand. And this report is to be prepared by you as a planning engineer. You getting my point, everybody? This is your duty to show me this report. If I see this report, then I can take corrective actions. Otherwise, I am busy in so many other things and so many headaches that I will not be able to know what is the status of my project. Please type yes or no. This is a very important concept. If you are able to understand this or not. Right. So unless I don't know whatever is the status, I cannot take corrective measures to bring the project back to normal, back on track. Good, good. Thank you so much. We'll move forward. Some more points also. So what if, let us consider a fictitious scenario. This is not possible. There is no planning engineer on site. This is not possible. But let us consider what will happen if there is no planning engineer on site, or maybe planning engineer is there, but he has not done the job properly. What will happen? So you should be aware that construction project involves complex activities, very complex relations and interdependencies of different things, different people, different external agencies are working at the same time, simultaneously on the same project, right? So very complex relationships between different stakeholders, and so very effective and very high level of planning skills are required. And because of this, planning engineer role is very important, right? So what will happen if no planning engineer is there on site, or maybe the planning engineer is not having proper training and having poor planning skills. What will happen? Obviously, as I told you earlier, project manager will be blind. He will not be able to see the real status of the project, and he will not get the real-time warnings before time. Ultimately, what will happen? Your project will fail. That's the worst thing. Now, when we say fail, it's not only when we say project fails, it is not only about the building fallen down. It's not that. Project fails on paper also. Right? So on paper, your project will see that the status of your project will be that you are over budget and behind schedule. This is the worst case, as I told you, the four quadrants, as I explained earlier. So this is effectively project failure, means the failure of project goals. Nobody plans to fail. Everybody wants to succeed, right? Everybody will agree with me. So the project failure will occur if no planning engineer is there, or maybe the planning engineer has not done his job properly. So you can see the importance of a planning engineer and proper skills and effective skills that a planning engineer is required to have. It's very important role, right? This is a cause and effect slide. One of the many reasons for project failure. Right now we talked about project failure. So there are multiple reasons why the project can fail. Out of which this is one of the major reasons. Unrealistic plan, as I told you earlier, preparing the plan is also one of the role of a planning engineer, and planning and scheduling, right? So plan means not a top view, not the drawing. Plan means execution plan. So execution plan and schedule, if it is unrealistic or poorly prepared, not technically conforming to the standards. So this is one of the major reasons. One of the major reasons. Obviously, there are other reasons like this also, but one of the major reasons for project failure is improper or unrealistic project planning and scheduling. And what is the effect? You can see here. Effect is that for every, you can read this entire sentence. For every $1 billion invested in the projects, up to $9.97 million are lost, wasted. Why? Because of poor planning. Project performance means poor planning. Now you can take out the percentage if you have good numerical skills. 1 billion में से अगर 97 million का लॉस हो रहा है, out of $1 billion investment, if you are losing $97 million, that counts to how much? 9.7%. 9.7% is lost only because of poor project planning. You understand how important and how critical this point is. Everybody with me? 9.7% is lost all over the world. This is not about India, Maharashtra, Telangana, or Punjab, Delhi. No, it's all about the world. This is a fact. This is a fact. Everybody with me? Yes or no? Agree or not? Okay, more yes required. Everybody alive? Okay, great. So this will explain how important the planning engineer's role is in the industry, right? Very exciting role. When talking about failure, I have collected a couple of examples where the project have failed, right? And one of the reasons, as I explained earlier, there are many reasons for project failure, but out of which poor planning and improper performance is one of the reasons. This is one of the iconic projects. Iconic means landmark, very prestigious, very big budget projects, right? This is from Australia, Melbourne, Australia. There was a project called Federation Square in Melbourne, and you can see how disastrously failed this project. Failed by over budget by 350 million. Of course, this is not US dollar. This is Australian dollar. 350 million Australian dollars, and every million is 1 crore. So you can imagine the magnitude of loss here, monetary loss. 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. 1 million is equal to 10 lakhs. So 350 million, you can count here. You can do your own math. How big loss, and it's scheduled It completed, it was late, it was behind schedule by 2 full years, that is 24 months. Just imagine the kind of loss they have incurred. And when those who are having or understanding the concept of overheads, you can imagine what will be the overheads. What were the overheads on this project? You finished this project late by 2 years, 2 full years. 24-month overhead costs were extra on their head, right? So even with a lot of, even now you can imagine how big teams were working, how many big teams were working on this site. Still, this project failed, right? The second example that I have taken, this is from Great Britain. There is a port called Portsmouth. There is a small town, Portsmouth. This is on beach. This is on the seashore. Spinnaker Tower. This is at Portsmouth in Great Britain. This was over budget by 11 million pounds. Now one pound is 92 rupees. Imagine, and 1 million is, I told you earlier, 1 million is 10 lakh. Imagine the amount of loss they incurred here. This was over budget. Extra cost of 11 million pounds was incurred. You can imagine there were planning engineers on this side. Still, this project failed. You can imagine how complex our industry is. Even with so much planning and so much preparation, projects fail. This is the fact. And this project went behind schedule. It went behind schedule by a whopping 6 years. I just get goosebumps by reading this. 6 years is hell lot of time. Hell lot of a time. 6 years behind schedule. This is a complete debacle, complete disaster. 6 years over time. Understand? There are actually many such, and mind you, these are not small projects. These are iconic projects of the world. Iconic projects, very prestigious, very big budget, and very landmark projects. Even though there is also, again talking of Australia, I could not collect because I had less time. But there is an opera house in Sydney. Everybody is aware of that. It is a world-class tourism place, tourism spot. This was also a planning failure. This is also an example of failure of planning. Now, even though this was a government project, even though it failed, it failed, it failed financially. So a lot of over budget expenses were there, and it also finished over time, behind schedule. This is also one of the example. I could not collect the figures, but yes, these are just to know the importance of planning in construction industry, in any industry by default, but especially we are talking about construction industry. So the role of planning engineer, I hope by this throughout this presentation, I have tried to explain the importance, the significance, and what role the planning engineer has to perform, how technical and how important this role is. Everybody should have gained the insights about this. Now, talking about the last thing, we are coming toward the end of this presentation. Career prospects, very high in demand. As I told you, how technical and how important this role is. Hence, it is in high demand everywhere, not only in India, but in the global arena. Everywhere, this role of a planning and scheduling engineer is in high demand. It will always be in demand. It will always be in demand. Okay. Talking about India, you can start a job. If you want to do a job, you can do. If you want to do a job, your starting salary you can expect. Now, this will again depend on the company that you are applying to, your own skills, your interview performance, and how big the company is, how large projects they are doing. This will vary, but this is an average, approximate range I am giving. If you're working in a metro city like Mumbai or maybe Delhi or Bangalore or Hyderabad, you can get a little more than this, but this is the average range that starting a fresh engineer can expect to get at the start of his career. Obviously, this will follow an upward scale, and you can reach great heights with experience. And obviously, you have to prove your skills. Okay, nobody is here to give you everything on platter. Ready-made कुछ नहीं मिलता इस दुनिया में. You have to prove. You have to take proper steps, as I told you, acquiring the required skills and proving your expertise. Then you can progress in your career, And the highest when you are doing a job in a company, the highest level that you can reach, obviously you can expect to spend a minimum of 20 years, then you can reach the level of planning director or project director. Okay, director level, or maybe project control, project control. This is one of the specialized thing within planning, project controlling, project control director or project control specialist. These are the topmost roles that you can expect to reach more than 18 years of experience, not before that. Don't expect. Okay. Uh, the second thing is, if you want to start a job, I'm sorry, if you want to do your own business in this industry, you can start your own PMC. Now, for students who don't understand the meaning of PMC, PMC means project management consultancy, right? So you need you need a team here. Obviously, you cannot work alone when you are doing a PMC. You cannot work alone. You need a team of engineers of all levels, planning engineers and quantity surveyors and execution team also. A good team is required. So you can start your own PMC, but for that also minimum of 5 years hardcore site experience will be required for you. Only then you will be able to understand and visualize the entire project life cycle, and be able to be able to do proper effective planning and controlling. Okay, so you will be working from client side, and you will be controlling. You will be when you are working as a PMC, you will be a mediator role between. So PMC lies here. Let me show you with a small graphical view. Here is client. Client means the project owner who is spending money. Sorry for the spelling. This is client, and this is the contractor. So PMC lies in between both of them. So the work of PMC is to understand the client goals and get the work done from the contractor. Get the work done from the contractor within time, within budget, and at required quality as per the contract. You understand me? So PMC is one of the thing that you can start your own self business or self employment. But obviously, as a fresher, you have to start with a job only. You cannot expect to start business right after your college. You will fail disastrously, because unless you know the entire processes and the flow of activities and flow of responsibilities, and what problems arise in a construction project, everything is complicated here. So unless you know the details, you will not be able to start your own PMC. Speaking of international careers, I have a little exposure to Gulf region. I don't know about other countries, but Gulf region I know, because I'm into international real estate. I'm doing projects in Dubai, so I know a little about Gulf market. Job that you can get starting salary. Here, when I said a starting salary, I meant as a fresher also. But here, the conditions have changed now. As a fresher, don't expect to get a job in Dubai or any other country. First, you have to spend a little time in India, maybe 2 to 3 years as a minimum. As a minimum, 2 years minimum. You have to take hardcore experience, and not just casual experience is not enough. You have to take hardcore experience. Okay, bring your sweat out. You have to work day and night without looking at the clock. So maybe you'll have to work 12 hours, 14 hours. Don't think about that. Put in every effort, work hard, and gain as much as knowledge from your seniors as possible. Get into the depth and gravity of planning engineering. Right? Then, when you are ready, you can start applying for international, because obviously there is a big difference here. There is a big difference here. In India, you will start with 15,000, but after 2 years, when you go to suppose Gulf, as I'm referring here to only Gulf region, the starting salary you can expect is around 60,000. Whereas in India, you will need around 10 years experience to reach the salary. Okay? So obviously there is a large difference in income levels in India and other countries, especially in Gulf. So you understand my point, everybody? Everybody with me here? Hello, everybody? Yes, no? Hello? Excuse me, everybody. Can you hear me? Please type in the chat box. Thank you so much. Thank you for the reactions because otherwise it's not of any use. Okay, so knowledge wise, along with the technical, practical skills, basic fundamental skills, you will also need knowledge of popular industry software that are the most popular in in the planning field is there are two software that is Oracle's Primavera P6 and Microsoft Project. Okay, these two are required. You should take training and get as much as knowledge in these two, one of the two software. If you have skills in both, it's well and good. But at least one of the software you should be able to work. You should be having expertise on this. Just knowing the software and basic understanding is not enough. There is a very high competition in the industry. Everybody is getting technically qualified and trained. You should not be left behind. Okay, so there is a tough competition out there. So one of the software, if both, because why both? Because in some industry, in some companies, maybe they are not using Primavera, they are using Project, they are using Microsoft Project. Okay, so if they are using Microsoft Project, you will at that time you will have to get trained in Microsoft Project also. So it's better to be knowledgeable in both the areas, in both the software. It's better, it's recommended because you don't know which company is using which software. And today, this is digital age. Nothing is done manually, everything is done digitally. So planning is also done through the software. These are the most important. There is also a few other software are also there. I think Astra software called Astra is also there. I don't know about that. I have exposure to Primavera and Project only. And details, we take trainings on everything. We'll move forward here. Let us have any other questions. Now I'll shift to the chat mode. I would like any questions. If I have missed, let me know again. If I have missed any questions, please let me know. Then again, come back to only two slides remaining now. We'll take the questions here. If I have missed any questions here, please type in the chat box. Actually, that was all that I wanted to present. Any questions we can take now, or we'll wrap up this session in next 2 to 3 minutes. Please type if any questions, specific questions are there. And if details are required, obviously, everybody will share our contact details. You can be in touch with us, and we can take another session to answer all the queries also. Software name for planning and plant and equipment maintenance management. Planning of plant and equipment. Advanced webinar, yes, we are conducting. Yeah, we'll do advanced webinars, but first we have a series of webinars coming on US also that I'll show you. Once we are finished with the basic software, basic presentations, then we'll go on to advanced webinars. First, we'll cover all other topics. Anybody wants to learn? Now we are sharing our screen where what kind of trainings we conduct and our contact details. Everybody, whoever is interested, can get in touch with us through our emails. Is there any code we have to follow to fix productivity and duration accordingly? By code, you mean to say IS code? There is no such code for planning thing, planning and productivity. No standard IS code is not there. As of yet, there is no standardized code here. We follow industry rules, and there is an industry body, professional body called RICS. We can have a guidance session on RICS also. Those who want to make an international career, RICS accreditation is highly recommended for them. So we can have a session for that also, but let the suggestions and requirements come from your end. We can do literally construction industry related any topic. We can do a presentation for you all, but let the requirements come from you. I think maybe the software will disconnect our presentation call. Whatever is required, you can we'll send you a feedback form also, and we'll send you an Excel file also. That will be a shared link. You can type in your questions. Now we'll have to wrap up because maybe abruptly this session may be closed by the Google Meet company. So I'll move on. These are the upcoming webinars that we are again. This will be focused towards students first, and advanced webinars. Yes, once we are done with our basic webinars, then we'll move on to the advanced webinars. I hope everybody will be comfortable with that. These are the upcoming webinars. That is my forte: quantity surveying and contracts, which includes estimation and billing things. This is also a very great career. We'll have one more session on this. Then tendering procedures. Tendering engineer is one of the position, one of the job that is position in the companies that is required, especially who works on pre-tendering and post-tendering activities. Right. Then we have a common webinar for civil engineers to show them what are the various career options and what is the importance of choosing the career early stages, because there are a lot of people coming to me once they are into the industry 2 3 years 3 years, and then they feel that maybe site engineering, site execution is not for me, maybe structural engineering is not for me. Once we are 2 3 years into the field, then you come to know that this was not the right field for me. So in this webinar, this is a very power packed webinar in which I give you options to the participants. Options means I explain what are the ways you can do career in construction industry, what you can do, what are the options available, and how to choose according to your skills. Because choosing the wrong profession is very harmful and very, you are at a loss. So this is one of the good webinars for this is general webinar, how you can do a job and what options are available, and the importance of choosing the right career at the right time, early on in your career. Once you are deep into the industry, you cannot go back, you cannot reverse the time. Everybody agrees with me that. So this is one of the good webinars that will be coming. Of course, other webinars will also come, but let the requirements come from your end. And advanced webinars will also come. So this is just first in the series, and I hope everybody I was able to deliver to your expectations. These are the practical courses that we conduct at our institute in Nashik. Obviously, due to the COVID-19 restrictions, we can conduct the courses until there are restrictions, and for outstation candidates we can conduct the courses, full-time courses, through webinars also, online also. And I want to assure you, even if we are conducting online courses, there will be no compromise with the quality of delivery or the quality of the teachings, right? The concept will be made crystal clear. So everybody interested, you can get in touch with us. So thank you, everybody. We are towards the end of this webinar. With that, I would like to call it a day, wrap up the session. Thank you all, and I'm really grateful that you all attended with full attendance and and you participated well, and you followed the rules. I told you don't talk over the mic, don't leave your mic on voice mode. So you listen to me. Thank you for that. and I hope to get back in touch with you soon. These are our contact details. WhatsApp number is also there. Our email ID is also here. Facebook page, you can follow that. There is also a job group that I am personally maintaining. In this job group, majorly personally, I am putting in uh, the opportunities in India and abroad also. As I told you, I have connections in Gulf. So this is a job group you can join. Obviously, if we are taking much efforts to maintain this job group, so we have kept this just for the sake of allowing only seriously interested people. We have put a small 99 rupees, that is annual fee. So anybody interested with can get in touch also. We'll be posting job opportunities in India and abroad. And once you are a member of our group, there is no further fees to pay. Okay. If you go to this thing, what you call as recruitment agencies are there, they charge you heavily. First, they take 500 for registration. Then for every job you get through them, they ask for half month salary or 1 month salary. We are not here to charge you anything else. This is just a very nominal amount, and this is an annual subscription fee. Anybody interested can get in touch with us. So with that, I will like to call it a day. Once again, a big thank you for all for your participation and your interest in our this session. And I have to get in touch with you all soon. I request everybody to leave this webinar. I'll be the last one to leave. Thank you again. Have a good day. Stay safe and stay at home. Bye bye.